Welcome back, it's Christina from Kenyatta College doing a video on ratios and proportions, video number 2. I had to cut the other one short to stay within the YouTube time frame of 15 minutes. So this is part 2 of ratios and proportions. We're actually on the proportions with fractions part. Fractions can exist within another fraction. That's something you probably learned a little bit about in fractions. But now we're going to look at some recipe stuff. An example, you need a half a cup of butter to make 5 muffins, but you need to make 18 muffins for some bake sale somewhere. So how much butter do you need for those 18 muffins? So again, you want to set up your proportions with your units the same on the top and on the bottom. So it's 1/2 cup over 5 muffins equals X cups, we can even put cup here, over 18 muffins. So again, you're going to cross multiply, our famous cross multiplying. We don't want to get cross multiplying confused with cross canceling, which is what we can do in fractions to simplify things along the way. But 5x equals 1/2 times 18. 5x equals 9. And look at that, we get stuck with a fraction. Well, x equals 9/5. So, well, does anybody know how to measure 9/5 of a cup of butter? Probably not, but we probably do know how to measure 1/4 cup of butter. So, improper fraction, mixed number, answer. And again, this is 1/4 cup of butter for 18 muffins. Okay, but you're basically just taking this x and you're plugging it right into here. So that's one example. Another one is the baking example. I guess I was in the mood for baking when I did these. So a slightly more complicated proportion. Let's see if I don't get you all confused. You need 1.5 cups of flour to make 2.5 dozen cookies. How many dozen cookies can you make with 3.5 cups of flour? Okay, so far we've had proportions with the x on top, and now we're going to have it with the x on the bottom. I just put my cups on top. I suppose you could always put your cups on the bottom and your dozen on top, and then you'd have the x on top again. But you need to get comfortable with x, a variable, being in a denominator at some point. So it's 1.5 cups for 2.5 dozen cookies equals 3.5 cups for x dozen cookies. Again, the trick with proportions is cross multiplying. So this is 1.5x, which is right there. And this is going to be 3.5 times 2.5, which is right there. So 2.5 times 3.5, we can go to the calculator if you want, if you don't trust me. Oh, let's try to go. Oh, let's turn it on. Oh, it's coming up. Never mind, that was the other video. It finally finished. So, going back, it's 2.5 times 3.5. 2.5 times 3.5 equals 8.75, just as I said, right there. So you've got the 1.5x. We're going to divide both sides, in case you're not seeing this, by 1.5. And divide this by 1.5. That's how you isolate a variable, is by dividing when they're being multiplied together. So your x ends up being 8.75 divided by 1.5, and we can do this right here. And it's 5.83333. X. Well, does anybody know what 5.83333 dozen is? Maybe, maybe not. One thing in your handy calculator here you can do is you can click the math button. See that little fraction thing right there, number 1? Just hit enter, and then hit enter again, and it's going to say, oh, it's 35 over 6. So as I wrote here, it's 35 over 6, or if you do some long division, you get 5 5/6 dozen cookies. Okay, and you know, you can take a look and say, well, that is about right, because if 1.5 cups goes to 3.5 cups, then 2.5 dozen should go to about 5.5 dozen or so, and it does, 5.56 dozen cookies. So that was the more complicated ratio and proportion example. If you guys have any questions, comments, problems that you're struggling with that you think would be beneficial to do in a video, I created a email address. So it's Christina_Cagnata-tutoring@yahoo.com, and we'll just go with the flow with these videos and see how we proceed. So this was the second part of the ratio and proportions video. The first part was much longer because we covered more in it. Thank you very much. Good luck, everybody.